ultra marathons, the toughest foot races in the world. The planet's most adventurous runners train for years to prepare mentally and physically for extremes of terrain and climate across incredible distances. La Ultra, at an average altitude of 14,000 feet, is the world's highest race.
Here the big thing is high altitude. There's less oxygen in the blood. If less oxygen going to your brain, that's a tough one because you need that oxygen to stay alive.
La Ultra's distance is a grueling 220 kilometres, which must be completed in under 60 hours. Set in northern India, this ultra marathon is so tough and the altitude so challenging, it attracts only a handful of entries from around the world, such as Lisa Tamati from New Zealand.
You know, I've handled the hottest, I've handled the longest stuff, I've done crazy stuff before, but can I handle altitude? I don't know.
I'm the guy who actually conceptualized and really came up with the whole idea. We were told it was impossible when I actually bounced it off the army headquarters. They were basically telling me, it's just impossible, what are you planning here, because they don't advise this. It's a 222-kilometer run. It has to be done within 60 hours, so the cutoff is 60 hours. Crossing the two highest notable mountain passes, average altitude of something like 14,000 feet. How it's different from other races, they'll throw something, maybe one very tough element at you. It could be temperatures. Here the big thing is high altitude. Temperatures is a problem as well. Altitude is going to stay there. So high altitude, that's what it does. There's less oxygen in the blood. If less oxygen going to your brain, that's a tough one because you need that oxygen to stay alive. At one stage I had 25 people signed up for the very first one. And the more they read about it on the internet, about high altitude, the more scared they got. The 3 people who started, we only had 1 finisher. That was super crucial for us as a race because if it was not done, people would have said it's way too tough, what's the point, forget it. So that was important that someone finished. This year we've got some very accomplished runners.
Every competitor here is completely different with their training and their strategy for the race.
If I expected heat, I'd expected cold, rain or snow.
I'm probably feeling the least confident I've ever felt just because of the lung problems. But you know, I'm here and I'm going to give it my best shot.
The asthma pumps don't work out here or as well because high altitude affects the pressure in the asthma pumps. And this is beyond anything I've ever done. So it's not the hills that I think are the problem, it's the altitude.
It's such an incredible human challenge. It's everything that an ultramarathon should be. I think it's just incredible.
Due to the unpredictable and remote nature of the event, Lisa and the other competitors organised their own support crews to assist them during the race.
We're waiting for our very last man to come through those doors there and through the airport. Josh Podini from New Zealand, my trainer and helper, so he's our last man to arrive and we're really looking forward to having the whole team here and being able to gel and get to know each other a little better and get on this mission. So yeah, he's never been overseas before, so I think he may be a little bit nervous, so I wanted to make sure we were here when he arrived. We're just here. You're here now. Ooh.
Lisa doesn't know any of the crew. She's known Josh, her personal trainer, the longest, but only 3 weeks. I only started sort of conversing with Lisa probably 2 weeks or 3 weeks before getting here, and the rest of the crew are all new to Lisa. So usually crews are someone who are known to the racer, that they're quite intimate with, they know how they operate, whereas we're all new to crewing, none of us crewed before, and we're all new to Lisa. So it's going to be an interesting challenge.
What do we need to know? I mean, what are we expecting? What are you expecting from us in terms of crewing?
Yeah, there are specific things that really can help me finish the race. You know, it's things like just being completely in control of everything for me except running, you know, so that I can basically focus on that because I'm not going to be in any sort of mental state to take care of yourself. You're virtually an invalid.
I think what worries me the most about crewing for Lisa is just getting it right for her. I mean, obviously Lisa's put a lot of time, money, effort, thought, energy into being here. So as crew, you want to back their dedication and not let Lisa down.
I think if there's anything that I'm a little bit concerned about, it's the distance. You know, you're going to have to be walking next to someone who's going to be fatigued, who's not going to be in a good place sometimes. I guess that can be concerning.
Yeah, we're all a little scared and a little tentative about what's going to happen. As I said, none of us have ever done this before, so we've been told what to expect, but I think like anything, as it plays out, there's going to be things that we're just not expecting, and I guess that's part of the adventure.
7 days out from the start, all competitors, support crew, medical and event staff gather for a safety briefing.
There's a couple things for acute mountain sickness that we're worried about. Acute mountain sickness is a spectrum. It's acute mountain sickness, and it can go from mild symptoms to severe, and we're worried about like some nausea, vomiting, headache, fatigue, shortness of breath. All these things go into the mild, and then when you get into the severe side, you start having symptoms like ataxia, basically unable to walk. You also get decreased mental changes, mental status changes. You can get a severe shortness of breath, which goes along with another thing called HAPE, which is high altitude pulmonary edema. And what happens there is that basically because of like the lack of oxygen, your lung capillaries or the blood vessels kind of constrict really tightly, increase some pressure in your lung system, and basically just fluid kind of gets into your lungs, and then you get severe shortness of breath. And people could suffocate like that.
Thinking that someone might be progressing from acute mountain sickness to high altitude cerebral edema.
It does not differentiate between who's fit, who's unfit, who's obese, who's not. This whole acclimatization bit is very important when you're here, and you need to respect. So we come up with a plan where we get them to a higher altitude gradually. I ask people to land here on the 1st, and the race is on the 11th. So the 10 days are mandatory no matter whatever they've done before. That goes even for the crew members, for the media crew, for anyone and everyone, you know, medics, everyone. So we don't differentiate on that one. Everyone needs to be equally fit as far as altitude goes.
Yeah, apparently since I've been here, 3 tourists have actually died. A couple arrived in the morning and were dead at night.
From the altitude?
From the altitude. Another one was, lady was up on the pass in Kardong Lara, felt sick, and an hour later she was dead. A lot of the comments from the locals have been like, it's absolute madness. Other mountaineers I've spoken to who are guides up here have said, look, there's just no way you can acclimatise that fast, go up that many metres in that short a time and non-stop, etc., etc. It does make me wonder.
As a part of the climatisation process, Lisa and her crew conduct a number of training runs on the 2 mountain passes.
Okay, we're up on the Tanglangla Pass, which is the 2nd pass, and we're at a height of approximately 5,000 metres. I'm just going to go for a wee training walk. It's not going to be a run. The boys are just going to practice crewing and seeing how they go.
So get up just in front, a little bit in front.
We had Chris yesterday who got a massive headaches and quite a lot of problems, so we'll just see how we go today.
Go.
It looks slow when you're walking up here, but believe me, it's like sprinting at sea level. You can't get too into the anaerobic zone or you're going to kick the bucket really quickly and not get enough oxygen in, and your oxygen saturation levels will drop, and then you're in the cart.
That was a good run. You did well.
I did really. Yeah. We did 12k or something. We were losing.
fucking good.
So the only difference is you got to do that at night.
Yeah, and after 100 miles and more for times 3, and then carry on for another 40. Oh shit! Everybody seems to be in good shape, except for me. But I think that's all right. I did go a bit further. No, it's all good. We're making a good team. That's the main thing. Yeah. Right, let's shoot down.
Sure.
I've been up actually 6 times now. Twice up Tingling La, 4 times up Kardong La. Been doing sort of between 10 and 15 kilometres a day, mostly going uphill, just to try to find out, because downhills is pretty, self-explanatory, but uphills is really a hard battle for the lungs. I've got a 3.5 litre lung capacity, so I don't have good set of lungs. I'm an asthmatic since I was a 2-year-old. So I knew I was putting myself out there in this race, but I didn't quite know how much. And the altitude is not what I expected, it's worse.
The medical team are monitoring competitors, crew and support staff during the acclimatisation process to gauge how well everyone is adapting to the altitude.
And how are you doing symptom-wise?
Yeah, really good.
Can I get you to dangle your left hand?
Yep.
Yeah,
sleeping okay?
Sleeping really well. Yeah, I got over that tummy bug. Yeah. That was really knocked me for a 6 for 24 hours, and then I came right.
Okay.
And apart from that, yeah.
Good. So hemoglobin was 12.4.
Last time. And 12.0.
Yeah, that's tragic. It means I'm not adapting to altitude. Well, a little bit disappointed with the medical briefing today. My hemoglobin has gone down. It should be going the other way, because that means you're adapting to altitudes. In other words, I haven't adapted. It's at 12, it was at 12.4, so it means less red blood cells, less oxygen. 12 is in the range, bottom range of okay for the general population, so for an athlete training at this level, it's not good. Yes, I'm just really a bit gutted about that hemoglobin. I would have thought I would have shot up and be able to carry more oxygen, but as usual, no.
To complete the acclimatisation process, all crew and competitors spend the final 2 days resting at a higher altitude.
Before the race itself, we go to a higher altitude, go a little lower, but it's going to be like a 14,000 feet or so. Sleep there for a couple of nights. Where you sleep is more important actually for acclimatization.
Yeah, just see some action and getting closer. Got 2 days sitting around still, but yeah, I'm getting onto it.
After an 8-hour journey through the mountains, they arrive at their new base. Lisa found one of the only available rooms in town, deciding to bunk in with 2 other competitors, while the rest of the event set up camp.
We're going to venture our way across to the proposed campsite and find out what the hell we're doing, try and drag our bags back here to the possible room.
It's a fair way.
It's a fair way.
Over the next 2 days, everyone rested in preparation and did whatever they could to keep their minds occupied.
It's possibly the longest waiting period, I'm only going to guess, but of any race, of any sport in the entire world, because we've been here for 10 days now, and we've got another sort of, well, nearly a day to go before the actual race starts. So how that plays out psychologically with the races and with the crew, there's a lot of waiting around, there's a lot of mulling things over, how's the race going to play out, You know, how's the crew strategy going to play out? How's Lisa going to go? All that goes up and down, and Lisa's moods go up and down, our moods go up and down.
Just put soy sauce on everything.
A little bit of rice, some cold pasta, potatoes, some roti. Food for fueling crew and athletes.
We've just had our last supper, quite literally. Some of us didn't even get to eat our supper, and this massive storm just came through. Okay, the race can begin. It's just chaos, really. We are one of the lucky ones because we've got a room, and we've just left them all to it, basically. We've come back to the safety of our room. I am praying that we don't have this weather in the morning, because it just shows you how quickly it can happen and how violent it can be. We are at the mercy of nature here, and we will have to play by her rules. You know, it's certainly not a given that any of us are going to make through, or who's going to get through, especially if storms like this should come through.
Race day for La Ultra arrives, with the start location not far away.
I'm just taking a shot of nebulizer.
Yeah.
So I don't have an asthma attack.
5 minutes to go. 4.
What was Lisa's blood pressure?
115 over 80.
Like my jacket on?
Back.
Thank you.
You got it.
They're off. It was a very quick start. It's kind of, we're here, the start was set up, and bang, they're gone. But a lot of nerves out there, I think, including us.
Smile on my face the whole frickin' day.
From an outsider's perspective, never having crewed or never having been exposed to ultra runners, it's been really interesting watching the other crews and the other personalities who are the runners. They're all from different backgrounds. They all seem to have some sort of extremity, and there's a lot of camaraderie between the crew and between the racers too. I mean, look, they're all, a great bunch of people, as you'd expect.
Each competitor employed a different strategy to tackle the first ascent. Before long, they were widespread, with Lisa on her own in 5th place.
I can't believe how fast it's gone up. I couldn't believe that.
So is that fast for you? Is that fast for you as well?
Not fast really, but the point is keeping in mind where they're heading to right now. They should conserve. My problem is if someone's going too quick uphill, that's a tricky one as well. They're doing good. I'm not bothered about them.
Yeah, well, we're happy with her pace, just nice, and that was the plan, just take it easy.
Yeah.
Don't kill yourself before the first cut.
No, not going uphill.
No.
It's looking strong. Possibly going out a little bit too fast, I don't know. We'll see. So she's coming around the corner now. She's doing really well. Just had a bite to eat. When I mean bite, I mean like, this is the muesli bar, and that's how much she had of it. So I'm going to offer this to her again, because I know what I'm like when I have one bite of something. I want the whole thing, so hopefully she has the whole thing. Right. You know, I thought I'd come over here and there'd be a team of runners, and my thing would just be, I don't know, help her out wherever need be, maybe jump out of the car, give her some water or something, you know, give her a bit of motivation. But every time we had a meeting, my role started to multiply in dimensions, so to speak. But hey, love a challenge, and this is certainly going to be one of those.
And Josh will jump out. Go, 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 go.
Snickers? Chocolate drink.
Oh, chocolate drink.
Stop.
We've found that even on those short sort of 10 to 15 kilometre runs that she's really struggled to get any food in. Now obviously when you're exerting yourself, it's hot sun like it is today, the energy she's going to need to expend is phenomenal. If we're talking the technical side of her strategy in the racing, then I am really worried about is getting enough food for her to continue racing.
We are at North Kullu. This is the first big traffic point on the way to Kardungla. Everyone seems to be doing strong. Some are slow, some are fast. No one seems to be having any medical issues at the moment. The police have already arrived here. They're doing an excellent job for us controlling the traffic. So that's a very good sign for us.
Lisa wants noodles, lots of water.
She doing good?
She's doing good. But we're just going to try and get some food into her. I reckon that's going to be the best bet.
You want to go ahead?
Just going to gulp it down, or you want to just...
I can walk the rest of the way, it's not far.
Is that enough noodles? There's more up there. Yeah, that's sort of thing. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Noodles taste good, mate. Been going for about, what, 4 hours?
4 hours on the dot.
4 hours. Doing okay. Hammies are tight as shit. Trying to kick this down will be interesting.
You okay?
Up to the police checkpoint, the climb had been steady and gradual. However, the closer they came to the summit, the steeper and tougher the ascent became.
You know, we're at around the 34k mark of 222. She's just filled up on noodles, and the guys have taken her up, starting up towards the first mountain pass, which is Kardungla.
You doing, Lisa?
I'm feeling really sick. I've tried that once. It's going to be a long battle till just to the top. I can hardly stand upright. This traffic is cloned. It's just exhaust fumes everywhere.
Abhijit, any updates from Lisa's team?
Lisa's team is 11 kilometers short of North Kullu.
I copy that. Is all well with Lisa's team?
2 kilometers, is it correct?
4 kilometres below Kardungla. Lisa's battling, but
she just wants to get over the top.
She just wants to get up there, so we'll let you know if anything changes. I'm just going to touch base with the medics and let them know the same thing.
All right. Thank you.
Got your seat here on that. Put it on that.
Meters at a time.
Yeah, no, that's all you need to do.
It's fucking altitude, excuse my language.
It's tough, eh?
Yes. I'll get over the top.
It's just up there.
And then down.
That's it, you've done the highest point, eh, if you do that.
Right, another 100 metres.
Go.
Despite the strain on Lisa, she reached the summit of Kardung La ahead of her predicted time and comfortably in 4th place.
She kept going. Just want to keep going. Time 13:28. Keep going, Lisa. Good job.
So we've just come over Kardung La Pass, which is the first of the 2 mountains that we have to do, the one at the start. I think mentally for Lisa, now that she's gone over that, she's got her second win back. So it's really good to see that after the first hard bit, now that she knows mentally, oh, I'm up and over that first hill, that she's got it under control. And the medics are panicking a little bit, and we understand why, because this is what they call the death zone, is where a lot of tourists die that aren't used to the acclimatisation, and I know a lot of our crew are feeling it, so we won't spend too much time mucking around talking up here. We'll get back to following Elise.
"15 hours and 65 kilometres into the race, Lisa reached the first of 3 medical checkpoints.
We have a lot of detailed strategies for the race, but given the setting, I think the surroundings, and a lot of variability in weather and communications, I know there's going to be a lot of improvisation. We don't have any permanent medical stations. We have 3 medical checkpoints. When they go through, be evaluated by one of the 3 of us for their vital signs, their weight, and their symptoms, if any.
About 95 over 70.
Heart rate's 96, oxygen is 95, that's very good.
Okay, let me take a listen to your lungs.
I'm having pain up in here,
upper part of the stomach.
Can you take some deep breaths? Push out air as quick as you can. She sounds clear.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I don't know how many Ks, I can't count at the moment. I'm feeling like shit. I feel like I've got something up my sternum. But I'm okay. Just trying to keep my head in order. And another 4 or 5 hours, I can't run down. Yeah. We're a little bit ahead of schedule, not much, a bit. And there's a fly in my noodle.
Actually, I think Lisa's doing pretty well. I think she looks strong, and certainly in comparison to the other racers, I think she does look very strong. She's having some issues with not being able to eat during the running part or the walking part, but to be honest with you, almost everyone is having that problem, especially going up. It's really hard to eat when you're going up and when you're at that altitude, but I was very reassured to see that she was able to take in some noodles and some soup here, and that her vital signs look good.
You guys gonna help you out? We'll be with you in 2 minutes.
The first ascent, I don't expect too many problems, and then coming down the other side, we expect that to be relatively easy because they're coming down and the altitude becomes less of an issue. Once we get like 20-something hours in, things are going to get more interesting.
"10 kilometres from the township of Leh, night settled. The night is often the toughest part of the race, as the runner tries to overcome the body's need to sleep. When they reached Leh, the team faced an unexpected obstacle.
We've been through the absolutely worst traffic. We nearly got hit The bus came right up her ass, just screeching brakes and just...
You okay?
Oh, doing shin splints. I need to cut these socks. I've already cut that. It's just bloody... too tight, too tight.
I knew these are tight, I just didn't know if that was...
It's about 1:20 in the morning. Lisa's just having a bit of a sleep and we're just trying to prepare a bit of a meal. She'll try and get some food in before she gets on the road again after 20 minutes. Yeah, not too bad.
After Chris made her some hot soup and gave her a potato, she's up and cranking again and doing well. Right now, I don't think she knows whether or not she's gonna finish the race. All she's focusing on is finishing the night, which is the hardest part.
To conserve energy, the crew rotated shifts walking with Lisa and sleeping in the support car.
Dawn of the second day. We've been going for 23.5 hours. It's been a really rough night. I had one 20-minute, one 10-minute break. Sleep. And I feel like death warmed up. And this is a sprint, in case you hadn't noticed. And soon we're heading up the valley that leads to the second path. God help me please, because I don't have any comprehension of how I'm going to do it. Right now I can't even go up a little hill.
I might have been wrong about your bag.
That's okay. That's fine.
I just stepped in here.
It's about twice the size, I don't know if you can see it, but they're not usually those fat bananas. They're usually quite slim and okay.
Chewing gum.
And that's hyponatremia. Hyponatremia is when you hold all the fluid in your body and you can't process it.
After a short rest, Lisa was off again. Sights set on the next medical checkpoint, 30 kilometres away.
How's the elephantitis?
You shouldn't ask a woman that, you know.
Whenever we talk to her, it could be about absolutely anything, absolute bollocks, but just keeping her talking keeps her awake and it just keeps her mind going, and I'm guessing that keeps her body going, I don't know, but she's definitely in much better spirits just when we have a good yarn to her. I just zoned out before myself, we weren't talking, and I looked across and she was completely zoned out. You could just see the body language, everything completely changed, so we just got to keep talking to her and keep pepping her up. Sorry, how's the, what is it?
Hyponatremia.
Hyponatremia.
Natremia.
Natremia. How's your hyponatremia?
Not good.
Not good? Do you want done up?
The next checkpoint, Rumsi, was now 25 kilometres away, which would provide the relief of hot food, a real bed, and the presence of the event medics. However, as the sun and temperatures rose, so did the challenges for the team.
It's 9:45 and it's hot.
Yeah, the doc's pretty worried about everyone in the heat, so just we've got to take it super easy.
I think the heat's just getting her to it, to be honest. She's worried about getting to Rumsi. She's still thinking well ahead of herself.
She's really frustrated because of the pace that she's going at. She knows it's only 10k away, which to us is a small number, like she's just done 140. But just knowing that it takes us 3 rotations of one crew to do 1k is really playing with her head at the moment. So she's struggling just to even get this 10k, and in her head can't even fathom how she's going to do the rest of it, you know, the other 80.
By late morning, the temperature had risen to 41 degrees, becoming unbearable for Lisa, who collapsed.
Run ahead and just press back seat. You're right.
I guess we just all looked back and we just saw a body slumped on the ground, and from here we were maybe 50 metres away, and that could mean absolutely anything. So we panicked. So we rushed down, got her, put her in the car. She's had maybe 3 or 4 minutes rest in the shade. She said even when she just walked up to the car she could keep going, but we kind of asked her to have at least 3 minutes rest or so.
I feel like shit.
And she's just had electrolytes, so we know that she's hydrated, we know she's got salt, she's been drinking, so we just think it's purely the heat. I don't think it's a health issue, I just think it's a fatigue issue. But yeah, it was scary. It was that's the first real time that anything serious has sort of gone on, and I suspect there's probably a few more to come.
After an excruciating 3.5 hours in the heat, Lisa and the crew reached the 3rd medical checkpoint, a good opportunity to rest and refuel.
Okay, you're going to eat before you go to sleep, eh? Yeah? Get that food. Get that food now before she falls asleep.
Yeah, they put the checkpoint like 1 and a bit kilometres beyond where they said that they were going to have the checkpoint, which is kind of it's pretty soul destroying.
Yeah. When someone does that to a runner, it just destroys you, especially when you're walking at about 3 k's an hour. So it's another 2 hours of walking in the heat that I wasn't expecting. And we haven't even started the pass. And right now I'm just not feeling like, I don't know how I'm going to get up there. I can't breathe, I've got asthma. When I walk, I'm very close to panicking. I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Only an hour later, the weary team emerged from the bungalows.
It felt like about 2 minutes.
Before setting off, the medical team checked Lisa's physical and mental condition before allowing her to continue.
Do you mind if I take a listen to your lungs?
No, go for it. I just had now sleep.
Can you take some deep breaths? Again. Again.
Your lungs sound clear, but you haven't been vomiting as frequently and stuff like that. Okay. 88 and 88.
Okay.
It's good. It's good.
Ready for takeoff?
Yeah. We'll just take a really quick blood pressure. Send you on your way. What's going on here? All good?
Yeah, all good so far.
Okay, good. 110 over 80.
We're about to tackle the big one. The one that's going to either annihilate me or not.
The second pass, Tanglang La, is the toughest part of the race and a make-or-break section for competitors.
So being that we're at the hardest bit of the race, what our plan is to swap every time we get to a corner. So these mountain roads are, they've got switchbacks, so that you go up for a while, then there'll be a corner. So that's when we do our changeover. Whew. That's hard, man. Altitude.
Yeah. Up here, you just a tiny little exertion, and it just reaches into the bottom of your lungs, it squeezes it out, and man, how is she doing that? We're out there for maybe 300 metres.
Yeah. It's one foot in front of the other. Just like game plan from the start. Stick with it. Focus on the next corner. Hey, focus on the next corner.
The higher they climbed, the thinner and colder the air became. Lisa stopped frequently for Ventolin to combat the increasing danger of an asthma attack.
So just a nebulizer for asthma, and the medics have just sort of said keep it preventative when you can, so every 3 or 4 hours just get that into her. Again, keeping in mind she's got 3.5 litre lung capacity and we've all got 5 or 6, so it just helps open up the airways and so she can breathe up here. Gotta sit up, gotta sit up.
Taking it one switchback at a time. Let's get to the top of this mountain. Okay, that's what we gotta focus on. You're doing really, really well. I'm all proud of you, mate.
I didn't think I'd make it up here.
Hey. Hardest race in the world, mate, and you're kicking its ass, okay? Alright, boys, who's up next? I'm. Okay.
My feet are mine today.
You're doing well. I'm real happy.
Every time I stand up, my feet
just have a little bit of walk. And back. Release. Lie down. It's cold as a bitch up here, so she's already feeling it, and we're about 19 kilometres from the top. What she's focusing on now is getting to the top. Plan is to stake at the top. Basically that just means that once you stake, you can take the driver back down to a camp, let them sleep. When they're ready to come back, you can take them back to that same stake and they can carry on. She's thinking 1 or 2 hours sleep and then 32 kilometres to the finish line, which is all downhill.
8 kilometres from the summit, night fell, and a snowstorm engulfed the mountain pass, weakening Lisa's mental and physical state.
Now that we're 5 or 6k out, that she started to have some negative thoughts creeping in. Her body's just trying to shut down in this dark. You know, she's had an hour's sleep in the last 48 hours.
I'm sticking with you, Carl. We'll get you there. Yeah? We need to get you to this top. You need to get to the top. Then you can rest.
Chris had a bit of a pep talk with her, and I think he's come to the agreement with her that she'll go to the top if he does. So that's what's happening, and yeah, got to respect Chris for that. That's huge for the team.
With the support of her crew, Lisa reached the summit of the second pass just before midnight on the second day, 39 hours into the race.
Get car 1 ready now. Okay, we go down.
Yeah, great job. That's what I'm talking about.
Sticking to the original plan they staked at the top, the plan was to drive back down the mountain to checkpoint 3 to rest for a few hours, let the snowstorm pass, then pick up where they left off the next morning.
It's about 5 a.m. and we're about to get out in the foot-deep snow in the snowstorm and run the last 31 kilometres down to the Moray Plains where the race will finish. We got up at 4:45 this morning, so we had a couple of hours sleep last night, and yeah, so I've just got to get this over and done with. But yeah, we're pretty stoked with what we did last night, and
here it is, team.
And here we are. This is business time.
Conquering Tanglang La the previous night left Lisa 32 kilometres to complete the race.
Right, let's knock this bastard off.
Chris, head quick. Please jump in the car in front.
There we go. Early morning jog.
Done about 3k. 28 to go. Very, very, very happy.
Yeah, we haven't had much sleep in the last, what are we, exactly 48 and a half hours, but really stoked, like, to see Lise 24 k's away from the finish, like, just enjoying the walk.
One foot in front of the other, guys. Looks good.
Let us go. Let us find peace of our minds. Fall is here, hear the end, and I'll be waiting for you, my friend.
You got a run in you? Come on, you got it.
Well done, brother.
Hey.
Exhausted and relieved, Lisa crossed the finish line almost equal with the time she had predicted, overcoming one of the biggest challenges in her career.
You're one mean bugger, you are. There was one brutal way. I don't know whether to hug you or punch you, but...
What was it? Yeah. 52 yards.
Woohoo! Woohoo! I've done a lot, but that time takes the cake, that one, so...
Just be strong. Little bit strong.
And I hope I never see you again.
Lisa's time for the 220-kilometre event was 53 hours and 5 minutes. Placing 6th and finishing just inside the cut-off time of 60 hours was Molly Sheridan from the US. Ahead of her in 5th was Australian runner Samantha Gash. Lisa placed in 4th, with Australian expat Jason Reiter in 3rd. Ray Sanchez from the US placed in 2nd with a time of 39 hours and 3 minutes, whilst the UK's Sharon Gator won the event in an incredible 37 hours and 34 minutes.
We all come here to finish, and that's a challenge. I mean, everyone wants to finish as fast as they can, and that's a challenge. You have your own goals, but the time isn't the issue. It's about finishing. This is an adventure.
That feeling of crossing that finish line, I still haven't really digested that. This is so new, this is still so freaky, and I'm still in this little bubble of happiness. The project that I'd spent so many months planning and working for and believing in has really come to fruition, and I really did it. One of the highest points of my life just to finish this race.
पहचाने ना